From its earliest days, the United States of America has valued education. Our founding fathers believed, as do we, that learning promoted liberty. Pioneer settlers built schools so their children can become productive citizens. Great expanses of land were set aside to create one of the finest systems of higher education in the world. Today, the U.S. educates 54 million students from kindergarten to grade 12, and over 17 million college and university, many of them foreign-born. As we do, we are constantly at work to improve the way we teach and learn. A revolution in education is taking place, in many other nations as well. This is a truly hopeful sign. In the age of information, a quality education has never been more valuable or highly sought. It is the key to unlocking an opportunity for an individual, a family, or a society.
First school I taught at was North Andrew in Missouri. It's about 25 miles north of St. Joe. It's a little small 1A school at that time. I was the ag teacher. We had a home economics teacher, and the rest about basically in a band teacher. Everything else was core classes. So what it looked like, every student I had at that time was male, and they all lived on a farm. You know, it was a small community, so quite a bit different than today. I taught then. I left that school and went to Maryville, Missouri, and I taught there for 12 years. And as I'm telling you that to tell you how I got here, it's because there I was part of what Missouri calls their Farm Business Management Analysis program, which is an adult record keeping for adult farmers. And I had a young farmer group as part of what I did as a high school ag teacher. So the last 5 years I taught there, I was doing that. So I was basically a half-time adult teacher, half-time high school teacher. The person who'd been coordinating that program through the University of Missouri moved on to a different job, and so they recruited me to come there and run that program, and then I could work on my PhD at the same time. So I did that for 3 years, and then this job opened up, and there was a job in North Carolina that opened up, and I was one of 28 chasing those two jobs and was fortunate enough to be here in Kansas. So that's how I got here. Education has changed a lot. I thought about this when my first year of teaching, or first few years of teaching, I would have students bring axes and knives to school to learn how to sharpen them. You know, and half the kids I had probably had a shotgun hanging in the back rack of their pickup because we were going to go hunting after school. That's a tremendous change. I mean, you don't see that kind of thing. So that part of education has really changed. It's a lot different as far as security and some things like that we have to deal with today that we just didn't even think about, you know, that long ago. We know so much more though today about how the brain works, how students learn, the reasons why we do some of the things that we do in education, which is just tremendous. You know, we do some things that worked before, but we had no idea really why they did. We just knew they did. Now we know why, and we know how to try to engage all students in the process, and we've come a long, long way, I think, in what we're able to do for students. I guess one of the big differences I see is when I started teaching, all the technology I had an overhead projector, I had textbooks for the class, and I had a core curriculum that we had available. Today you have the world at your fingertips. You have all the resources. You can Google on your machine and find almost any kind of information that you want. So that is a difference and different expectation about, I think students today expect to have information immediately. They expect to have their answers done immediately in that kind of, and we have instant communication. When I started teaching, it was a big deal to make a long distance call because that cost money. So we didn't do that. So I think one of the big differences is in expectations of gaining information, communication, that kind of thing is hugely different than what it is when I started teaching. Don't ever stop learning. just when you think you're getting out of school, boy, I'm sure done with this, I'm glad to be out of there. Don't forget that this is a lifelong process. That we call it practice teaching, just like medical doctors or practicing doctors. Hopefully we're going to get better at this. So don't just always try to learn, always try to do something new and different. Think of new creative ways to engage your students, because that's what it's all about.